Good morning and welcome back to When Pigs Fly. I'm Patty and I am joined by Renee and Tracy. Good morning, ladies.
Morning.
So good to see you. So, we know that you guys have been eating up the energy updates and we want to stay on it because the energies are shifting so quickly that quite literally the last energy report we gave is almost obsolete. Now, it may be perfect for you for where you're at, but we want you to understand that this is very, very quickly surging and changing forward. And your ability to pivot and adapt and integrate the energies is very important. Today, we wanted to talk about the, how energies are being purged and then you're getting new energy pulled in. And then more importantly, are which energy are you choosing to amplify? So, what do we mean by this? This is particularly if you are paying attention to a situation in your life, and we understand it and we have compassion if you're looking at something negative. You need to understand that in this energetic, you need learning to pivot and choose what you want to create. And Renee's got a great tactics for this. If you find yourself thinking about it, cancel that and replace it with the opposite. If you're an analytical person, you do not need to know what the opposite is. Your soul knows. Remember, you're supported and guided. You're supported and guided, even if you aren't fully consciously aware of that yet. Just start to know that, start to practice that, and that your guides know what the opposite is. So ask for that support and take it. Now, in this energy, you may have days where you feel kind of foggy. You feel just disconnected. We all go through it too, and we understand what's going on. So you're not alone when you're feeling those days where you go, oh, I don't even know my purpose. What am I supposed to do next? I feel like I need to quit my job. I don't like this relationship. Anything when it's purging, if you still have a tether to it, it's going to keep coming up and it's coming up stronger. That's when we're talking about. So the amplification applies to the purging process too. So if you say, but this keeps coming up, but this keeps coming up, we understand that. And in that moment, become the observer. Become the observer. That's your power position. And say, okay, I'm observing that I'm focusing on my sore thumb, but my thumb is sore and I can't do my arts and crafts and la 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 la. You're amplifying that you're being encouraged and invited to let go. And so instead, you're going to practice that pivot and focusing on something that you want to amplify for the good. Choose something that you want to create. Understand that the whole evolution is based on awakening and creation. And that means clean slate, which is why the energies are coming in, pushing it out, which feels like you're completely disoriented. Then there's a void where we stabilize. We just, the last 4 or 5 days or so, we did go through a stabilization period. And then now illumination energy is coming back in. So that illumination energy supports all of your creativity. So that's kind of a long explanation, but Renee, do you want to jump in here?
Actually, I wanted Tracy to jump in only because I loved her analogy when we were off screen on what's actually happening with this
Yeah.
field and taking those aspects. So go ahead, Trace.
Okay, thanks. So how I've been seeing it is everything Patty said, and it is getting amplified day by day. And how I see it is every day, every moment is a choice point, and you can go one way or the other. And I see kind of like up, I'm going up, I'm expanding, I'm, excelling, I'm creating, or I'm going to keep that old track or old narrative, unserving narrative, and to be very mindful in every moment because it is one way or the other. And for me, and I can only speak for me, I have been feeling that the energies, I like the words, very erratic and unstable, which right, your first impression is, ooh, I don't like this. It's unstable, it's erratic. But what I would say is that we want to shake it up. We want to shake it up so it can dissolve, and then we choose which path we're going. And I know sometimes for me, because I tend to want it hard and fast, like give it to me full speed ahead. I will kind of get bombarded with some undesirable thoughts, feelings, situations in my life. And I do all the time get myself caught up, and I do to Renee's stop, cancel, replace with the opposite, and then try and, or, I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I let myself spiral in it. This sucks. This is rough. The world is slimy and rah. And I allow myself to really get dirty with it, because then I'm pulling it up. I'm not going to leave any of the crap behind, bring it all up, and then I'm cleanse myself of it. And you know what? I'm like, sucks. And now I'm letting it go. Now I'm cleaning myself. And oh, by the way, I'm going to create what I know is available, a world of miracles and blessings and magic and joy and love and happy. So I really go in all angles. I really allow all of it to come at me, percolate, marinate, suck, and then let it go. And then woo. And for me, the more intensely and heavily I can see it, even if it's the suck I like to call, the more I have tapped into the energy of it to really say, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. This is not my reality. I give you full permission to leave, which is another great tool for Renee's. Yep. And that really has been coming to me a lot, that I give you full permission. All entanglements, attachments, we're going now. And then even more, if I have any energy left in me, I go into and oh, by the way, that hurts. So I'm going to call in miraculous healing. I'm going to call in, cell regeneration. So yeah. A lot at play, and amplification is the word of the day, of every day. It's even more available, more powerful, more potent. Try and be mindful and choose wisely.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that whole point of what you're bringing forward. Like, okay, yep, you're letting this all go, and now bringing it forward, and now I'm going to call back cell regeneration or whatever it is. That's something really positive that we all have to remember and to know. And, Tracy, when you say everything's amplifying, like that's exactly what's happening. And if you want to look at from a point of every single thing that you're saying and thinking is heard in a positive manner, okay, from whatever. And even your soul, it's like, oh, this is what they want to experience. How wonderful. Let's give them more. But you don't have, money. Okay, now this is going to happen, so that you have to spend the money that you're going to use for rent over here. So it's that point of recognizing. But let me give you a little percentages that, the powers that be were saying that in today's energy field. So here we are in today's energy field, and right now, everything you're saying and thinking is magnifying by 385%. Okay, so now 2 days from now, it's going to be 415%. Okay, and it keeps going from there. Eventually, we're going to get 100%, and it's going to be like boom, 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 boom. And they're saying, like, as it starts to get a little higher, it's going to slow down a little, because the overall consciousness has to catch up. But they're really bringing home this point of, we have to recognize you have the ability. You are creating every little aspect. Whatever you're putting energy to in all areas of your life, exactly what Patty said, regardless of what it is, that is now being magnified. And you have to recognize and know, if you have a sickness and illness, going into that field, oh, something's wrong, I don't know what's wrong, none of the tests are showing me, or whatever it is, you have the ability within your own voice to tone. And Tracy, you were just saying, like, you wrote about that in your book, your own personal tones, where don't, get out of your head in the whole aspect of, well, what this is going to sound like. If you're have this whole aspect, like, I'm just going to make some sort of crazy noise out of my mouth, and you just make this noise, feel it in your body, feel it vibrating, going to that point. You have the ability to heal yourself. You have the ability to change your life and every single thing in it by reframing, readjusting what you're thinking. If you're focused on it, I know a ton of people lately are, oh my God, all this old crap is coming. They're really buying into the energy and the thoughts and the feelings of, there's not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. All of that stuff is coming forward. And exactly what Tracy said. Okay, if you're the type that needs to really dive into it and let it, come up and do that, do it. There'll be days where I'm just like in a shitty, crappy mood. And my family will always throw my words at me, like, well, why did you get out of it? Why did you get out? I'm like, because I don't fucking want to. That's why. Because I want to be here today. Let me be here today. But I won't let it go beyond that. And, typically, when I go to bed, I'm like, okay, I'm going underneath all of the root systems and I'm bringing all of this up and we're transcending it back into love. And anything that doesn't want to be love, thank you so much. I love you, but I give you my full permission to go. And let it go however you want to do it. There's no right words, no wrong words. But let your system recognize you have the power. And I know, because I was in that same field years ago, you'd be like, well, why would I create this shit for myself? Okay, you don't know. You don't know you came in, and trust me, I've seen us all up there, and we were so excited to come in to experience this bullshit. So I don't know what kind of crazy shit we were smoking there, but guess what? We didn't bring it with us. So you got to start to shift and change the thoughts, reframe things, and get every aspect shifted and changed so that you recognize I'm creating this. And what do I want to create today? What's my reality today? You know what? It's going to be friggin' full of goddamn miracles. I love it. It's going to be full of love. And if some shit comes your way, I'm bringing this so that I can recognize and feel, oh, I got this in me. Okay. I'm going to release and let this go. I'm going to give it my full permission to go and send everything else with love or whatever it is. But that's such a key thing in all areas of your life. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah. And I love what the two of you brought up too about feel it completely. Get in there. And I've encouraged a few clients too. I'm like, write down the absolute worst case scenario and go there. Write it down and go there. Go all the way there and feel it, but you're feeling with the attention and saying, okay, now you have to choose to let it go. So if you're still playing look at my owie, and that comes from, when you're a child many times where, okay, if you were sick or you stayed home from school, you got extra love. And literally that's how your fight or flight mind is taught you that you need to get love. Many of these fears are you're trying to get love from an outside source. And it's unconditional love is a state of being and it's who you are at your core. And so just pay attention to where did this become just a habit and a pattern? And many times it is, and really look at that and then go in there and really, really feel it and go to the absolute worst case scenario. If you're feeling guilt over that, oh, my family this, and I was a victim of this, go in and all the way feel it, but then let it go. You're not meant to carry the backpack. In fact, if you're still carrying it, it weighs 10 pounds today. What Renee was saying, tomorrow it's 40 pounds, the next day it's 90, and it's going to keep going. And the energy is forcing you to look at it again and purge it. So if whatever you've been doing for a while is still causing it to linger, you got to look at, okay, what am I doing? Shift it. And if that means go in and feel it even deeper, go do that and let it go. Another cool tactic is to see the whole thing, imagine it in like an orb, and then hold it in your hand and take it outside of you. Take the entire scene outside of you, put it in your hand as an orb, and do like Tracy says, and you can alchemize it, give it love, and send the entire, you don't need to pull every part of the orb out and examine it. That's the shit show rabbit hole. You can put the entire situation in that orb, alchemize it, and say, I now give you permission to go with love. At the time you experienced it, it served you. It was part of your journey. So don't be in judgment. Don't be in resentment. Because remember, you've already felt it all and now you're letting it go. Now you have there's a clean space there. And that's when you can get into, yeah, what does my body need right now? And allow yourself to stabilize in that clean energy because it is amplified. But the flip side of this, like Tracy said, I love when you gave that graphic. It's, she was putting her hand up. It's an arrow going straight up. And that's where you are amplifying the good energy. And it's expansion, exponential expansion versus the other way was, exponential density. So this is the power. When we say you have the power to your thoughts create things, this is how it's happening. And the energy is here to support it. So Trace, got anything to add here?
Yes, because one thing to be mindful of, which really is happening in my world, is as we are expanding our energy fields and we're bringing in more light and more availability of the intelligence, you are bringing that energy out to everyone you encounter. And I've noticed I'll use the word trigger. I'm triggering a lot of people, not intentionally, but I'm noticing everyone around me kind of going up against the stuff that they need to look at or they need to release. So there's a two prong there to realize that this is happening around you. And of course, to amplify it in a good way, give it love, give it encouragement, nurture it, whoever it is, to go ahead and have the availability to let these energies go and to move along. But also, we are still, I always set the intention to every day, I do it multiple times, to let all discordant energies, entanglement energies, to really that I'm free, that I let myself go, sweep the energy fields, amplify myself. But there are people that we live with, they're in our energy fields, our pets, our spouses, our children, the people that we work with daily. Energy fields are very expansive, and they're becoming stronger. And I work with the energy fields of my house and my businesses daily. So there is a lot of intermingling energies still. And to be mindful of yours and to be mindful of yours in collaboration of you and your child or you and your husband, because there is a relationship there and there is a synergy, and we do want to remain a synergy, a harmonics of a sort, but it's shifting where it's more individualized. And I know we've tapped it's kind of hard to conceptually get. We're actually becoming more sovereign, which strengthens our harmonics with those that we love, which can sound counterintuitive. I didn't mean to go that far out, but I did want to bring it into play because that is happening exponentially as well. I'm sitting back and going, okay, wow, it's showtime. It is showtime. It is go time. I really am going to be mindful of all the interdynamic energies around me and steward them in a loving, harmonic, coherent way.
Tracy, that's not out there. That's actually here.
Well,
That
good.
used to that used to be out there when we were transitioning from the old energy. That's not an out there. That is right now where we're at. And this is why I think we're on here really, really inviting you to really you've got to power yourself up and understand that in doing that, you're promoting the harmonics within all of the other people. And every person in your life has their own journey. And you really do have to mind your own business. You can still co-create with them, you can still harmonize with them. But for you to give them your best, you've got to give that to yourself first. And by focusing on that, and it's very true, and I can attest to what Tracy's saying too, is because sometimes if you're carrying and you it's good to be aware of this. So you say, oh, I was having a good day, and then so and so I encountered so and so. Don't give your power away, because what happens is the more illuminated you become, quite literally, that's what's happening. We're getting more light, we're becoming more of a light body. The more illuminated you become, you then reflect back to other people. It's almost like, oh, the light's a little bright. So it may come across as they're opposing you because they're not ready to embrace that amount of light yet. But by you holding that, they now have an opportunity to say, okay, wait a minute, maybe I want a little of that. And so, but it's very important for you to hold your energy and not give it away in that moment and say, well, I was doing good until so and so approached it. It's like, no, understand that's their journey and that's where they're at. But you can still hold your space, hold the space, and no matter what is going on. I told you guys the other day I got in an Uber, and the guy was envisioning, like he said, we almost got T-boned and there was no cars near us. And I realized he was in a fear energy. And I thought, no, I'm just going to sit here and think about music with him. And I don't, first of all, we weren't in any danger. I don't even think that way when I get into any vehicle. I go smooth sailing all the way, door to door. That's just like I create the experience I want to have. And it was smooth sailing all the way, except that he was his energetic. And so, look for opportunities where you don't entangle, and choose and say, oh, okay, what experience do I want to have with this person right now, regardless of their behavior, regardless of their behavior. What experience do I want to have with them? And and then focus on that. That's what you want to amplify. And it might not, you don't snap your fingers like this and apply it and appear in another country, but you are in that moment shifting that energy. You're playing with the energy and you're playing with your power in a great way.
Absolutely. I
Renee?
love that. And I love that aspect. I want to sort of circle back where, earlier when you were saying things like, about the energy and shifting, and don't go into the whys. Why did this happen? Why did I create it? That's a whole rabbit hole. You don't want to go. Just let it go. Let that whole aspect go. And, I just have to think when you just said it, like, you can't snap your fingers and be there yet. Right. I know Tracy was thinking the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
we can't do that, but we're going to be there. And the healers were saying, earlier I had said, we're not 100%, we're not there at 100% when it hits 100%. They're saying when it hits 7,052%, that's a weird percent. When it hits that, but before it hits that, we're going to start to slow down because the overall consciousness. But, circling back to what you guys were saying, the energy, what I love about this energy and being aware of like you making those shifts and those changes is people within that have the same energy of you. Okay, think about like everything that we're going through, the same energy of you around the world. What's now happening is as you are shifting and changing that energy, because we're all connected, that energy is now making the shift and the change for everybody within that same energetic field of you that like has that same thing. It's making that shift around the whole world. So they show it going around the world, and then they show the overall consciousness lifting up. So you're not just doing this for you. We want to see changes in the world. It's up to us. It's up to us to see the changes. So you start to do it for you. We literally are making that change around the world. People that don't even recognize what's happening is like, oh my God, I don't know what just happened. I just sort of like woke up, or I'm not worrying about this anymore, because we're helping them shift and change. So every single thing you do is magnifying around the world, which is, I think, freaking awesome. And the other aspect is when you're making these shifts and changes and you're very aware of the dynamics within those people in your field, let go of expectations. That's one of the things that people hold on to. So, well, I expect this person to be like that. I expect those people always screw me. No matter what happens, they're always, no. That's what you're creating. You're saying it. Therefore, you're going to get screwed. Like that's what happens. Recognize when, oh, I'm having a great day. And then this happened. All right. That's your soul saying, hey, we have something in us that says this is what's going to happen. We're going to get screwed somehow, or that we're going to have a bad day. We can't just stay in this beautiful, wonderful day, and we can't just have everything work out for us. Yeah, we can. So it's having that awareness and that recognition that I have the ability to change and to make my day the way I want to. And when somebody shows up, I'm going to stand in my power, and I'm going to bring everything up that's associated with this, that is within me, that created this coming to me. I'm going to now bring that all up, and I'm going to let it all go. I'm going to fill it with love, and anything and everything else that doesn't want to return to love, give you my full permission to go. Allow yourself to move forward. And I'm not saying you have shitty days, because that happens, but catch yourself, recognize at the end of the day, oh shit, I really sort of bought into that. Okay, guess what? We're going to now gather all that up, go into the root systems, however you do it, get into it, and let all of that shit go. Do not take that to bed with you. Have your whole thought be when you're going to bed, you're letting that go, and take the time to be in that beautiful, peaceful space, knowing tomorrow or right now, I'm going to create this amazing everything, and tomorrow is going to be fucking phenomenal. Because why wouldn't it be? Why would you create anything other? And that's what sometimes I ask myself, like, I'll, think about something and I'm like, oh my God, that could go wrong. Oh my God. And I start to go down that rabbit hole. I'm like, wait a minute, no, why would I create that for myself? I wouldn't create that for myself. No. And it's telling my system, the old, what Patty says, the old history file. No, that's the old stuff. And half of that isn't even mine. So no, we're not doing that. We're going to let all that go. And I'm going to redirect you guys. And I will literally move a little bit. I'll be like, okay, we're going to redirect and we're going to go this way. And this is like miracles and love and happiness and joy. And that's my life. And let that be. And when those in your life are, saying things and they're buying into stuff, you can impart your little pieces of wisdom. You can do this, but do not expect them to walk your path. Do not expect them to take that and do it because you've planted seeds. Who cares how it gets watered? It's not up to you how those seeds get watered. And we've all had people, like, we've said things a million times and they come back years later like, oh my God, somebody said this. And you want to say, yeah, I told you that 10 fucking years ago. Right?
It's so true. And we don't care how you get the information, but to support what Renee just said, and it is important, what you're doing is you're tuning off the shit station. And you literally are, when we talk about vibration and frequency, this is exactly what we're talking about. You're choosing a higher vibration. You're paying attention to where you're at, letting go of, I don't like that station anymore. What station you want to tune into, and the power, it actually permeates universally. It goes beyond what your brain can even understand. But when the more of us that tune in to those higher frequency, the more power you get there, the more stability that happens, and you really are impacting. It's so much bigger than just you. It's so much bigger than just you. And just pay attention to any of these old beliefs, like, oh, my entire life this has been happening. And, oh no, this, like, my whole family's been effed this way. And all of those type of statements, pay attention to your language you use, and, stop and say, wait, cancel, and create the opposite. Just like get into that, or really feel into it and saying, did you just adopt this belief because your family told you that this is how it is? And, and it's true. We're seeing, when you do hold your energy, by the way, you do see a shift a lot quicker than we used to. I absolutely do. But it's making that choice to, okay, what am I choosing to create right now? So we've got a couple minutes. Let's, Tracy, you got something
I
juicy.
just want to, because this ties right in, claim the miracles. And I'm going to use an example of a travel day. I've been traveling a lot lately, and sometimes travel days, they go astray. And I'm going to, claim your genius in the equation and claim the miracles, because sometimes there's, this got canceled and we didn't get our seat selections, and which could potentially be like, oh my gosh, that wasn't a smooth sailing day. And I always think, well, wait a minute, that could have gone way worse. That actually did go fantastically. And oh, by the way, I had so many opportunities to bring my energy into different situations and expose to different people. And I call it angelic interference. I look in hindsight and I'm like, oh my gosh, there was so much angelic interference, because that could have gone way sideways and it didn't. So I sometimes, I think I create it myself. I like very dynamic situations, which in the moment could be like, and then I always reflect. I'm like, that was genius. Oh my gosh, all those miracles. Ripple effect goes back to Renee, whatever we do. And I was like, wow, that was a potent and powerful day, because that ripple effect applied to so many situations and people throughout the day. Good work, girl.
Yeah, I love that, Tracy. Absolutely. You want to claim your miracles because you want more.
Right.
Whatever you want more of, claim it. And and look at that. This requires patience, though, and observation. So patience and observation, and say, okay, wait a minute. I got delayed, but what opportunity did that present for you? Because, again, I love the angel. I love angelic interference, don't you?
Yeah.
So I love that, Tracy. Thank you. Any closing statements, ladies, on this one? This is a good, juicy subject.
I was gonna say, we don't know what the big picture holds. So if, like, an example, travel and it goes sideways, like, just look at the blessing in that. Like, you know what? I don't know. Like, sometimes I won't leave the house in time. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't leave the house in time. I'm like, that's okay. I'm gonna be there on time anyway. But I'm like, I bet I missed an accident or something crazy. Like, I always like, they're like, thank you. I was like, thank you. So I love that whole aspect, and just recognize you don't know the big picture. Just know that's happening for a reason. You can either make it a shit show, or you can make it a miracle and something wonderful. Let's choose that one.
I love it. Well said. And great idea for another episode. It all happens for a reason. Boy, we could all tell stories about that one. Well, thank you, ladies, for another great episode, and we'll see you next time.